Hi, Hazel.
Hi, Sylvia. Welcome back. How many months has it been since we've done a taping?
A bit.
A bit. It's been a long summer, hasn't it?
Yeah, long and lovely.
Yes. Well, how are you today?
Great, great. Full of energy. How are you?
Yeah, the same. I'm not quite sure if well, I have got energy. Let's not be negative. Yes, but I probably don't have as much as your energy, but I'm feeling really excited about coming back to do our taping today.
Yeah.
So, welcome to Hope Springs Conversation. And today we want to, the topic that we're going to discuss is the pressure to be successful. The pressure to be successful. And we're going to spend some time maybe trying to understand what success means for us. And maybe I had some ideas from Dr. Wayne Dyer about how he saw success and really about looking at how we measure success and how that affects us, particularly women, because I know maybe some men are looking at the show, but most of the people who've been following us are women. So I guess, and because we're women, I guess that resonates a lot with women. And our passion is really to make a difference in the lives of women. So today's topic is the pressure to be successful. So I guess it would be interesting to start with what success means, and maybe we can maybe share our experience of what success means, Sylvia, and then I can then talk about what the sort of the way talk from the perspective of how Dr. Wayne Dwyer sees it, and then maybe connect back to that. How does that sound?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So if I were to ask you about success, maybe your own definition of success, how would you say, what is success to you? What does that look like?
Success to me would look like I'll be at my best self
Mhm.
mentally, physically. Also, uh, doing what I like doing. And uh, I think like everybody is like about this meaning in life. And I think this is the definition of the success for me. I believe that, you know, when I'm finding more meaning in life, that means that I'm successful because
Mm,
I find a purpose and I know what I want to do long term. How
mhm,
does it
mhm.
look like for you?
It's changed as I've got older. So when I was younger, success for me was about achieving, getting good grades, getting jobs, getting the best roles, being at the top of my career. So it was all about what I can, do in terms of getting better and um, achieving the best, and maybe also wanting to impress other people. My family really. That's just the other people. But now it's more about maybe similar to you. For me, it's about kind of having that sense of well-being, having a life that's fulfilled and happy and joyful, and really having the freedom and choice to do so. So that means that I've got more choice to make decisions about what I like and what I enjoy. And it doesn't necessarily mean getting things or achieving. It's more about um, that feeling of whatever I'm doing in the moment, I'm happy. And so it may just be, for example, last night, which was a very long day yesterday, my daughter's birthday. And it was they just planned everything, my two daughters, to get to this restaurant. Um, then to my other daughter got tickets to go to the Life of at the Apollo comedy show, and I knew it was going to be a long day, and I was stressing early in the morning, thinking, "Oh gosh, I'd rather be in my bed by 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. I don't want to be out that late." But then I thought I need to just trust that it was going to be okay, and it's going to be fun, and it's not about me, it's my daughter. So in that moment, for me, looking back at the day, it was the success was about just experiencing and enjoying every moment with my daughters, because soon they're both going to be leaving home to live independently, and I'm not we're going to get back some of these experiences. So it was more about the in the moment experience.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I appreciate that you mentioned that it has changed for you, because it has changed a lot for me. As
Mm-hmm.
and it started since I really had kids, because the way I see it now is like I want them to be happy, you know, and that is a measure of success on some level for me too. I think
Mm-hmm.
like there's a lot of pressure for women to be successful, especially in certain areas where there is more men, just to kind of like, be more like this, whatever. So yeah, it has changed the whole dynamic of um, what I think about the success when I had my first child, and then obviously the second as well. I do
Mm-hmm.
believe that part of my success is like when I see my children happy and healthy. And sometimes I think we forget that as women, it is super important for us, and we don't appreciate that, in the mainstream media at all, which is interesting. As women, we have this amazing power of, we care about other people, and it's huge, but yet it's
Mm-hmm.
not appreciated as more as the more masculine energies. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe that's something that's we should, as women, should think about more, like, that it is a measure of success, and then obviously it will take some pressure off some women that chose not to have like a career, like a professional career, but they stay at home mothers. At the end of the day, they are successful as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what I think.
That makes me think about I think this was in, it might have been late 90s, early 2000. I was just qualified as a nurse, and I remember I was working in, so around near Kensington, in London, and had two young children under the age of 5, working shift as a nurse, traveling from my home to this area, which was, I had to get up quite early, like to leave after 6. And I remember listening to, feeling really stressed as well. Plus, I was doing my family therapy qualification, my master's course. There was this thing on in the media about this woman called Nicola Hawley, and she was meant to be a super woman because she was one of those top women. I don't remember what her job is, but she was very high profile, very successful businesswoman with about 6 or 7 children. And they were talking about how what a superman woman she was because she was juggling being a parent to these 6 children. She had this amazing husband, perfect, like the big house, the big career. And really, they were like, wow. And I just thought at the time, I was thinking it was just a lot of pressure on women then to try and measure up to this woman. I'm very sure that this woman probably had her nannies
Yeah.
and all the different people around her to support her, but she was a superwoman. So I think the media set up women in that way to think that you've got to be successful at the same time. And I always thought, and there was a thing about you can have it all. So that was a message, you can have it all and be successful at it all. But with time, I realized that when you have all those plates juggling, you have to sacrifice something. So maybe at one point in your life, your family might have more tension.
Hmm.
One point, your career might have more tension. For me, I noticed that as I said, it changes because when I was younger and I was single, of course, my career studying was the most important thing. It was all about me achieving, getting at the top. But then when I had children like you, I knew instinctively I couldn't be, although I still tried to do it, I couldn't do the same. And it was only after I got divorced that it really sunk into me that you cannot do all these things. You have to take a break. And I remember when I started my psychotherapy master's, my youngest was 2 weeks old. So I walked into this course, yeah, um, full time working still as a nurse, 2 young children, a baby 2 weeks old, starting a course. which is a master's course, and everyone looked around me and said to me, with the look like, "Are you mad?" And for me, it wasn't. I didn't even think about it. I just knew that I had to achieve this course. I wanted to do this course, and there was no option. But I could see where my burnout started, where my stress that led to burnout started. It was from that very young, from even before that, trying to, I have to do this and I have to do it now. Not taking any time out, not taking a break. Then so, and I think this idea of the superwoman is there in for many women in their lives as well.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I think like overall, we need to learn how to define our success, because the
Mm,
success looks differently for um, every single person.
yeah, yeah.
So, and as you said, it changes. Maybe it wouldn't change that much if we learn how to trust ourselves more from early age.
Hmm.
Maybe.
Absolutely, maybe. So this is a good moment to share. I was listening to this. I recommend it to everyone. It's called The Shift by Dr. Wayne
Oh,
Dyer.
I love it.
It's amazing. I've looked at it twice, and I think that for some reason it came up on my YouTube channel
Hmm.
again. So I sort of had to. It's 2 hours long for anyone who's going to listen to it, watch it. But it's 2 hours worth looking at. And he talked about what success was like, and he was talking about, first of all, he talked about the ego. Because like when we're born naturally, we're born with just in a natural state. We don't have ideas about success or being good enough. We're just pure. But then as we get older and we're influenced by family and friends and school, our ego takes over when it's all about us, which is probably what we talk about in our first stage of our life, about what can I get, what can I have. So he looks at it in like 3 stages. And first of all, he talks about the ego, which is edging God out, and that decision that you make, that you no longer need guidance, you no longer need to trust your wisdom or your intuition. You're just going to do it on your own. And so the first one he talks about, it's all about what we have, what you have, like the house, the boyfriend, the husband, the career. That's how we base success. The next one is about what am I, what I am what I do. So the first one is I am what I have. The second one is I am what I do. So what are you doing in terms of your success? Like your job. You normally meet people who says, "Oh, I'm a doctor," or "I'm this,"
Oh
or
yeah.
"I'm that." It's all about your titles and your role. They base their identity in that. And the next one is about your reputation. So you're more worried about what other people think about you, like your family, your friends. So you're achieving and trying to be successful for them. And how many times have we heard these stories of these people who said that? I know in sort of African culture, I'm from the Caribbean, but I know from speaking to African people, they say generalization here that they usually have that pressure that they have to be doctors
Mm.
or accountants, or like other cultures. If you're not a doctor or whatever, then you're not good enough. So
Hmm.
you're trying to sort of please your parents or your culture. But what I thought was interesting was that he said that for women, when our values, before, at some point you're gonna come and have a shift in your life, hence the movie The Shift, where if you maybe start to experience a crisis or trauma or something that that you've got to the point where this doesn't work, you start to look at your change your values, don't you? So he was saying that what he noticed with women, that the five top values before you have that shift, first of all, is our family. So we base our success on our family, and then our independence, and then the career, and then fitting in. How many times you heard the fitting, trying to look like movie stars, etc. And then
Yeah.
attractiveness. So those are the five top values for women. For men, the five top values would be wealth, adventure, achievement, pleasure, respect. And then he said, after the shift, what women come, the thing that women changes. So after we've gone through all those stuff around maybe having a divorce, maybe going through bereavement, whatever the crisis, we suddenly start to evaluate our life. Like, you were saying now it's more about meaning. And then you're looking at your own personal growth. So that's number one. my own personal growth, my self-esteem. What am I worth? Am I
Mhm.
valuable enough? So it's more about working according to your values rather than trying to please other people. Spirituality is quite big, is the third one, that you start to think about you're connected to something bigger than yourself, no longer the ego. And then happiness is very important, and forgiveness. Um, and it's interesting because forgiveness, I thought he was talking about like forgiving all the people who've done you wrong. But in a way it is, but somewhat one of the women in the movie, she said forgiveness is about also all the things that were taught you that was wrong, that told you that you had to be successful and you had to look apart and you had to be pretty, whatever. She's saying, forgive the people who gave you all those wrong values. So I thought that was really interesting. I mean, I know you've watched it. Is there anything that from that movie that's standing out for you, just going back into some of the themes?
Like in general, I really like the whole journey of those few characters that were portrayed in
Mm,
that movie. So yeah, the shift is really a shift because it really shows you the spiritual shift from, and sometimes in quite stubborn people, I would think. Yeah, maybe
give an what do you mean by that?
what
Explain
they
that more.
what they think is like that they very down to earth, and they think like
Mm,
everything that comes to like yeah, like values and having some moral compass, whatever, is like some abracadabra thing, which is not true, but some people
mm,
would think that way. um
mm,
so yeah, I really enjoyed that movie. I like that story of this um woman who found herself in she wanted to go back to was it drawing or painting that she was doing?
I think she was a painter. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Mm,
And then she was hiding her work from her husband, which I found really interesting. Which we tend to do that. Like we don't want to be seen as like, oh, we
mm,
you know being too artistic, to this, to that, like we're trying to to kind of like appear to be normal.
yeah.
Good moms, good wives and things like that. So yeah, I really enjoyed that movie. It made me rethink my life. And to be honest, I think it was maybe 6 months ago that I've watched it again.
Ah,
I think it was my
yeah.
third time or something. It's one of those stories that I like to review from time to time, because I think we need to remind ourselves
Mm.
what is important.
I think so, and I like the idea what you talk about. It's interesting you talk about the mother because I'm just thinking about. I think I shared it in one of our videos before about this mother that I worked with, and she was a professional person. I think yeah, she was trained and went to university professional, and then she got married, and then she was trying to fit in with her friends, so she didn't talk about who she was, about her career, and so and most of her friends, I think she became a stay-at-home mom as well, but most of her friends had not really had careers, so she was trying to like come down in a way, not come down in terms of patronizingly come down, but not to, she didn't want them to know that part of her because she was ashamed of that part of her. So to fit in and to make friends, she would just talk about superficial things about the clothes, the holidays, um, getting the next designer stuff rather than actually I've got a brain, I have ideas, I can contribute in other ways as well. Of course, it's okay to be a parent and be a stay at home. There's nothing wrong with that. But she had done more that and more, but she was hiding that part of herself.
Mhm,
But how much I think a lot of us do that
mhm.
in many ways. Can you tell me if you can think of anything? I'm putting you on the spot. In what ways you probably did that in the past in terms of hiding your light, really hiding that part of you that is quite important as part of who you are.
Um, hmm, Let me think about it. I don't. like usually I'm trying to authentic
Mm-hmm.
most of the time. However, like, there are certain environments that you kind of need to, maybe not need to, but it expected from you to be, let's say, more professional.
Mm-hmm.
So as I was working, for example, in the finance team, there were certain settings that, you know, uh, you'd be maybe doing like making less jokes and everything because it wasn't seen as professional, if you know what I mean.
Right. Yeah.
But overall, like, I think it depends who you are with, um, you surround yourself um, with, and then based on that, you can either show yourself, your full self, and what you like, what you dislike. I believe that with age, we're, well, more of us are more open to showing, you know, what we like, what is good for us. Yeah, I think we're more courageous because we at some point reach out this, as you said, crisis or whatever, and we're just like, no, that's enough. Now I'm gonna do things for me as well.
Yeah, but that's the shift, isn't it?
Mhm.
Because it takes a lot, and it takes a lot of courage. As you said, you have to be really brave because you could be in organizations, you could be in friendship group or in family, and you're wanting to not fit into that stereotype and just not show your true skills. Because the
Mhm.
interesting thing with that same woman, her sons didn't even know that she was a painter. And when she was talking
Mhm.
about Joy, he's like, "How could you be a painter and I've never seen any pictures of you that you've done?" And I think that really touched her a lot. It really hurt her because she's thinking, "How can I have a child that don't even know the
Well,
real me, that
mhm.
there's another part of me, that I've got different roles. I'm not just a mom,
Mhm.
I've got, I'm a woman, I'm an artist."
Mhm.
And so it takes a big risk because it means when you take that risk to be different and to show that there's other parts of you, it makes you very vulnerable
Mhm. I think,
because you're no longer fitting that
yeah,
stereotype.
I think sometimes we even maybe don't put too much time into like real conversations, like even with
Mm-hmm.
our loved ones, maybe because we don't have time or whatever the circumstances. But I can even see with my daughters, spending the whole summer with them was
Mm-hmm.
great because we had plenty of different conversation and we learned a lot about each other. The thing is, like, we are changing too, so like we're not those fixed entities. So like I've learned
Mm-hmm.
of like what is now important for them. They've learned, what, how I was, because we discussed like the school time and all of that together. And they've realized that, you know because I think for the kids especially, they always think that there's something wrong with them, that nobody experienced those problems before. But when you talk to them, they realize, oh, actually mommy had similar problems, and this
Yeah,
is how she dealt with that. So maybe I can get those experiences from her.
yeah. But that's because you're sharing more of yourself. You're not
Hmm.
holding back, and you're not just because with the shift with the family, where it says women put family as the number one priority. What I think the mistake that I made was to put everything into my daughters, well, not everything, but most everything. So obviously making sure that they were okay, that they were, they're doing well in their jobs, and I put them first. But the downside is that that it's sometimes what I call entitlement, where we can also raise luckily they're not that selfish. I mean, every child is selfish. I was selfish as a child as well, I have to say that. But that you, when it's selfish in the sense that it's all about me, like no one else knows my pain. It's all about my success, etc. So I think it's good that as from a very young age we start sharing. We're showing that that there's other parts of us,
Hmm.
and it's, success doesn't just mean me putting everything into bringing up my children, making sure that they've got everything perfect, but they also need to see that there's other parts of mommy.
Hmm.
Mommy likes to do art. Mommy likes to write. Mommy has relationship with the men, women, her friends. She's not just You're not just my world. Because I think that's for me is that sense of um So when I look at my own daughters, I think now they're getting to the stage where um, we're at the point of going separately into our own new homes. I feel really okay now that they're ready,
Hmm.
and I know that they're ready because we've had this conversation. You can never be perfectly ready, but ready enough
Yeah.
because they can then go off independent enough, feeling too attached to me, or I'm not too attached to them that I can't let them go.
Hmm.
It's been a process to say, because sometimes I think, oh, I can't imagine not living without them. But then that's part of, for me, successful parenting. You have
Hmm.
to bring them up and then let them go.
Yeah.
So, so I think it's interesting that you're sharing that aspect of yourself now, because I think it's better to do it early than to leave it too late as well.
Hmm. 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 Yeah, and I think uh, especially like as you said, when you're working and doing so many things, uh, sometimes we don't really have time.
Hmm.
And to be honest, we need that crisis to make that shift. That's
Yeah,
true.
yeah,
Otherwise, it's not going to happen. We can
yeah,
sleep walking through the whole life, and then at the end, wake up saying, "Oh my God, I haven't done so many things."
yeah. And the amazing thing is because we do a lot of that in our training, in terms of burnout, stress, resilience, and looking at the strengths. What the common themes is that it's either a trauma, it's either something drastic change in your life,
Mhm.
like crisis or transition, and so it's probably important to remind people those stages. Like it's usually might be when there's like a loss of bereavement, where you're starting to reevaluate your life. I mean, there's been so many people dying in the pandemic, and even now, my cousin just sent me a message this morning to tell me someone from my village died who was about our age. Um, and in the last few weeks, last Sunday, it was someone else who was in my class. And so there's loads of people around my age group or even younger that's dying from where I was brought up in Tobago
Mhm.
for different reasons, not maybe illness, whatever. I don't know the circumstances. But I was thinking this morning, oh my gosh, I've just woke up. Can I not have another news? Why did I have to see this on my message first thing? This is another thing about Tobago people. They don't choose their time. So you might get a text at midnight. This is why I've learned to turn my phone off. They don't choose the time to give you news. It's anytime, anywhere. I don't know if in
Yeah.
Poland they're the same. But it really makes you think about your own life
Mhm.
and reevaluate. So it says bereavement, there could be divorce, whatever change. That's when we start to look at, if you have an opportunity to look at your life and think, do I want to live this way? Or do I
Mhm.
want to live differently?
Mhm. Yeah, I think sometimes even when we are not sure um, if this is the right life for us. What I've noticed that when I was working in the corporate environment, very often, like there were women that maybe decided to leave the career to, to spend the time with the children or whatever. They be criticized not by men but other women,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and I think that that's quite problematic too, because if we cannot support each other, like we always say, oh, those men, they are doing this, and you know uh, but
Yeah.
to be honest, I don't think we treat each other well either. Like at the end of the day, you know it's our decisions. I think we should support each other more
Mm-hmm.
in
Mm-hmm.
our success.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So what you're saying is that sometimes we're more critical as women with each other,
Definitely, I
about the
can see
choices
that.
that we're making.
I can
Yeah.
see that a lot. And like if you're in that kind of a environment, when you hear women criticizing other women for their choices, and maybe if you're not sure if this environment is for you, you then kind of hold back your true self as well, because you know
Mm,
that you'll be criticized too.
mm, mm. It's really interesting. I've got a current client, and she's going through exactly the same thing right now, um, where she's having surgery soon for quite a life-changing surgery, and she was she has to go through a process, and she's going into work, even going through that process. And I was like, shouldn't you be taking some time off? In my head, um, and we talked about it, and I think it was she was talking about the culture at work. Or her manager is a woman, and she's all the staff are women that she works with. And there's this culture that the harder you work, the more successful you work. And so she obviously feel guilty for wanting to take time out. So we have to talk about what is right now, what is the most important thing for you, and it comes down to my health.
Hmm.
So what is the highest context right now? It's not about the job because if I die, the
Exactly.
job is still going to be there.
Hmm.
So sometimes we just need a good shake, isn't it, to say,
Hmm.
"Come on, are you out of your mind?"
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, and it has changed for me as well because I've experienced some traumatic event a few years ago when I ended up in the hospital, and that has changed uh,
mm,
my point of view as well. To like, okay, my well-being is the most important thing, even from my family perspective, because
mm-hmm,
if I won't be well, I won't be able to support my children. I won't
exactly.
be able to go to work. I won't be able to enjoy life. So
Mm,
that will be the obviously, there could be sacrifices, but like I've learned how to take a break, as you said, and
mm-hmm,
recharge, get myself balanced again, so that
mm,
I don't experience those things again,
mm.
because it's mortifying when
Yeah,
you realize that on like how fragile our lives are.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And we've got no control over kind of how long, what's going to happen next, how long. I think when you get to that point, you realize I have no control. I've only got control over certain things and what is important for me right now. So
Mhm.
maybe that could take us into maybe sharing a few kind of tips or suggestion in terms of, um, you know, guess how to maybe change our perspective or attitudes around success. So yeah, I guess the what I was just thinking, just to expand on that, was right now, what is something we say in psychotherapy is what is the highest context. So what is important for you right now in your life? If you think about like the top values like family, health, money, career, relationship, what is the highest context right now? And then whatever that is, then it's more around, okay, what is it that you need to do right now to be able to manage and to be able to function, whether it's the relationship, the career, your health, your well-being. But once you're clear as to what is your highest context, that then sets you up to start to maybe open to the what next. How
Mhm.
about you?
Yeah, yeah, it kind of makes sense. And to be honest, I was thinking about it on Monday. And
Yes, yes.
the way I see it also is like, what brings me the most happiness, the most joy, and
Mm-hmm.
then I will focus and put the most energy.
Yeah.
So like, you know, relationships are really important for me,
Mm-hmm.
and it's any kind of relationships, because I believe that this really, even if I experience not the greatest moments in my life, this is what really keeps me above the water.
Yeah.
So I really want to invest in good understanding and trusting relationships on
Mm.
whichever level. I'm not only talking about the intimate relationship, but
Mm.
any kind of relationship, because I do believe um, it's the key to my life. And obviously, everybody need to make a choice like
Mm.
that.
Mm. And that would might change as you get older, which is what I call it the Wayne Dyer thing, but also just from our own story.
Hmm.
It depends. It's where you're right now in your life because 5 years ago that might have been different, or 10 years ago. For me, right now, it's health and well-being, um, and it's about my lifestyle that I want to be able to not strive or stress too much, but to be able to be relaxed. Whatever I do, that I'm relaxed and in a well enough state, happy enough state to enjoy it. So if I'm feeling stressed, I'm thinking, okay, this is not good for my health because it's going to affect the rest of my day. So how can I slow down? What do I need to do? Do I need to stop? Do I need to take a break? And in terms of like if choices. So I then it allows me to put boundaries in, to know when to say yes and when to say no to
Mhm.
opportunities or to people. So yeah, that's my main thing at the moment. I guess the other thing is maybe for people to be aware that sometimes, yes, the pressure to be successful comes from outside, from family, from our culture, but sometimes the greatest pressure comes from within ourselves,
True.
that we're the ones who are trying to please other people or make it right or make other people happy. And we need to maybe step back sometime and think, this, no one asked us to do this. We're doing it ourselves. So we
Mhm.
need to take responsibility for that.
Mhm. Mhm. And maybe
Mhm.
it's also to ask yourself a question: what if I, won't get that degree? What if I, won't pursue this promotion? Whatever it is, what kind of person I'm gonna be for myself? How will I perceive
Mhm.
myself? Is it really that important?
Mhm. Yeah, what's the worst that will happen if you didn't get the job
Yeah,
or the degree? Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah. Can you still be happy? Yeah. Okay, so any final comment before we finish, Sylvia?
Um, I would just say find your definition of success. Don't look around.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'd say try to find some tools, maybe like journaling, that will help you
Mm-hmm.
understand what you want, um, and how you want to get there.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And wherever you are, it's the place that you need to be right now. So enjoy success. Just celebrate where you're right now. So it's really been fun doing this after a while, a long while. And I guess part of our success journey is that we also take time out in the last few months, or probably weeks, months, maybe months, to to replenish and restore. So we're not just giving advice; we're actually taking our own advice in terms of making sure that we are successful in our lives, whatever we do. We've also got some really good news that we're going to so I haven't told you that we're going to say this. We're going to be launching a coaching program pretty soon, in about a month's time, and it's aimed at women, professional women, who are wanting to take their life to the next level. And we'll release more information as it comes, but so yeah, we just want to share that it's going to be a group coaching program, and it's going to be, how long did we say, Sylvia?
I
Is
think
it 3 months?
6 weeks.
Yeah,
Um,
6 weeks. We don't even know our own
now I'm
program.
not sure.
Well, it's coming soon, and we'll release more information. It comes. So
Mhm,
I guess we wanted to maybe start to say, if you're interested in joining our program, then
mhm.
please get in touch. We can
Yeah,
release more information as time
yeah,
comes.
and it's gonna be super holistic. So we're gonna look at in very different aspects, um, from the both like the experience and what we've learned. So yeah, I believe it will help many women to make
It will, because
to
with,
make a shift.
yeah, to make the shift, because it's bringing our experiences in terms of our professional experience as well as therapist, coach, corporate sector. So it's health, well-being, spirituality, everything, but it's also helping you to really think about, as Sylvia said, how to make the next shift of your life. Maybe we should title our program that. So we're
Like,
excited about it because we really spent a lot of time in detail. I spent some time in Poland with Sylvia a month ago, and we actually used some of that time to sit down and develop the program. So, and we know, because there were good times. There were times when she and I were like, I was like, I don't want to do that. No, I don't
true.
think we should do that. And Sylvia was very gentle, saying, but we got to the end of the program, didn't we?
Yes.
It was fun as well doing it, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah. Yeah. It's always fun with you.
that's the that's the political piece, is it?
Not really.
You've been trained well. No, it was fun. Okay, so thank you once again for watching. We'll see you next time. And don't forget to like and subscribe and share.
Mm. Right. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.